Most, you may let it be reported that the new pope won't exercise his office very long. The new pope will be determined by means of a very short voting period and by only 111 cardinals, who will appoint a cardinal by the name of Luciani as the new pope by the conclave on Saturday, the 26th of August. His new name will be Pope John Paul I. As brief as the time for his appointment will be, so brief will his term of office also be. After the mentioning of his name in the conclave, it will then take exactly 33 minutes before he is appointed as the new pope by the conclave. This 33-minute consultation time will also be exactly the number of days during which he will exercise his office as pope, then to finish his life on the 28th of September, 1978, at exactly 11:07 p.m., without anyone being with him. Therefore, he will part from this world alone. His death, however, will not be a natural one but a forced one, which will in turn be caused by a poison that stops heart activity, which then gives the impression of a heart attack. The new pope will be assassinated because he will shock the aristocratic rule of the Vatican and even horrify it by his behavior and his lifestyle. But so will he also make deadly enemies among the cardinals and many others, for he will break the tradition of the pope's coronation with the papal crown and only allow a fairly simple ceremony. But the new pope will be too people-friendly in the eyes and thoughts of many authoritative Vatican officials, which isn't good for the Vatican because it would lose power through this. So already a few hours after his appointment, a conspiracy will be forged, which will have the goal of removing this Pope John Paul I very quickly from his office, and to be sure, by an assassination of the same. Billy says, man, that is some piece of news. But how will it be, then? Will it be just like with Pope John XXIII, or whatever he was called? Will this murder also remain undiscovered and unpunished? Semiaza says unfortunately yes, because the power of the Catholic Church is great, especially that of the Vatican. Billy says one should finally clamp down on these dirty swines. Quetzal says that would be a very difficult and hopeless undertaking and, moreover, deadly for those who would try this. Billy says, oh well, then these dirty slobs can continue to patter around unscathed. Quetzal says that is, unfortunately, of correctness. But now, hear what I have to explain to you even further, in reference to other concerns. About this, my friend, you may also not speak publicly but only in the internal group circle, and that for as long as until the time has fulfilled itself. Billy says the case is clear. You can calmly entrust me with your knowledge. Quetzal says what I have to explain to you is of great importance. Billy says nevertheless, I will be silent like a grave, my son. If it is necessary, I'll even take my knowledge with me to the grave, but you know that. Quetzal says that is of correctness. Billy says then why are you still hesitating? Quetzal says I just want to be sure. It concerns the successor of the coming Pope John Paul I. His successor will be, after long centuries, a non-Italian, so he will thereby initiate the time and circumstances for that fateful papal election, which will be responsible for the fulfillment of the ancient prophecies. This third-to-last pope coming in October will, faithful to the evil determination, stand in the same star sign as his predecessor who will still assume his office this month, Pope John Paul I, the Moonface. The pope coming in the month of October will be a native of Poland, John Paul II, the Sunface. Nevertheless, his face will gradually resemble more of a vicious crater landscape than the sun. This John Paul II, who is called by the true name of Karol Wojtyła, will, as the third-to-last pope before the great turning point of the earth world, act as the 264th pope and Vatican ruler, while malicious intrigues are built on his back, and he himself will build up the guilt for the fact that Israel can enter into an alliance with the Vatican. After his death, which will already be in the near future, but I may not mention the date of death and its circumstances, etc. officially but may only tell you alone, so namely on the 13th of May, 1981, if nothing changes, which is possible. Explanation from Florana on the 23rd of January, 2003. On the 13th of May 1981, Pope John Paul II was to have departed from life by an assassination attack of a Turk by the name of Agaraxa. The attack did, indeed, take place. Nevertheless, the Pope remained alive by certain unforeseen circumstances. The effects of the circumstances yielded that the assassin shooter was pushed when firing, and therefore, the shot wasn't fatal. Thus, a slight nudge influenced the course of all world events. End of the explanation. Another pope will then make his appearance, over whom the human beings of the earth will wonder, as this will have also already been the case with his two predecessors, only that it will then occur in his case to a greater extent. When this one is removed from the world by death on, the pope with the number 5 will then come into his papal election value of the world end time. So he, as the 266th Vatican ruler, will finally initiate the events of the great world turning point, thereby losing his seat in the Vatican, however, which will be completely destroyed. But I will tell you more about all these things and in relation to other events at our next contacts, but you then have to guard this just as carefully as the data given to you now, which you may, at the earliest, make available to the public when Pope John Paul I has been murdered and when also Pope John Paul II has been officially announced as such, that is, as murdered by a shot attempt. You may only speak of this in the strictly internal and trustworthy circle. Billy says the case is clear. I will hold myself to it, which you know very well, nevertheless. Quetzal says I know. That is of correctness, but I still had to reassure myself again because too much depends on the fact that everything happens in such a way as everything is predetermined. If these things would become known too early, namely by letting the facts be revealed, then the determinations wouldn't fulfill themselves, which they must do. However, otherwise, the earth would then be completely destroyed, namely through culpable and premature changes by the human beings. Changes may only occur through the change of the human beings and the situations and events resulting from them in their logical sequence. Billy says, I understand. So let's speak no more of it. Do you, perhaps, still have something else? Quetzal says now, I still have a question, namely in accordance with your interjection of 8 p.m., etc. Billy says, oh, yes. It was exactly 8 p.m., 40 minutes and 13 seconds when I had interrupted you. With this, I meant that the Pope in Rome, this alleged Paul VI, departed this life at exactly that time. Quetzal says that is of correctness. I didn't keep that in mind. But now, my friend, I will drop you off somewhat out of the way in the woods, so that you will have to walk a little. According to your appearance, you haven't followed my advice and haven't indulged in long walks. But now, you are forced to walk a little, for your speaking device won't be sufficient in the calling distance for you to be able to call your friends. Whether you like it or not, you will have to go into the village down there and use a wire-speaking apparatus. Please greet your cannibal and all group members quite dearly and also give them good wishes, as is usual with you. Billy says gladly, my son, also greet yours for me. Ah yes, I am also to give you both the dearest greetings from all group members. Semyaza says I thank you very much, and I echo Quetzal's greetings and wishes. Billy says well then, okay. Bye together, and you are quite dear. Semyaza says farewell, my dear friend. Farewell and go in peace. Quetzal says till we meet again, dear friend, and pay attention to yourself. Billy says bye together, you are both very dear. The end.